The anime starts with 3 green-haired warriors. The blonde one is a mage, the black-haired one is a tank, and RMC is a healer for the 2 strong female warriors throughout their adventure. The blonde one seems to dislike the black-haired one. When the black-haired one didn't pay attention, the blonde one used her sword to kill her. Luckily, the Nengs revived her. The black-haired one didn't take it well. When the blonde one was gathering monsters, the black-haired one used her magic to kill her along with the monsters. The 2 kept killing each other, and one time, the green-haired blonde one charged into the battle alone. Unfortunately, she got killed by the black-haired one's magic. Then the black-haired one dragged her near the dragon. Then the black-haired one planted a bomb on her, killing both the blonde one and the dragon. The MC had to revive the blonde one again. In the end, because of their different ideals, the 2 soon split into 2 parties. They soon started a war, while the MC was still searching for his sword. After 3 days and 3 nights, the war finally ended, and both of them collapsed. Actually, this was just a play by the 3 people in the drama club. To find out what happened, let's go back a week ago. This is Hasegawa. Despite his delinquent look, even the school's delinquents have to bow down to him, but in school, he doesn't have any friends. Hasegawa just finished reading a military book in the library, and it's already time to go home. He planned to go home, but Hasegawa suddenly remembered that he left his notebook in the classroom. On his way there, everyone who saw him avoided him. When he arrived at the classroom door, Hasegawa suddenly heard someone talking. He opened the door a little, and saw a girl. According to Hasegawa's memory, this girl is Mikazu. She is also the type of person who doesn't talk much and is cold. Hasegawa curiously looked closer to see who she was talking to. Of course, Mika was talking to herself. Instead of thinking that she has autism, Hasegawa thought that she was talking to some spiritual being. Then he will accidentally discover this secret. Hasegawa will then join Mika's adventure, and when everything is over, the 2 of them will get together. With that in mind, Hasegawa opened the door and walked in. Mika was discovered, so she had to pretend that she didn't know anything. He asked her directly who she was talking to. Mika calmly said that she was talking to an imaginary friend. She even named this person Tomo. The 2 of them were talking about their wonderful school life. Hasegawa realized that she had severe autism, and he also advised her to find a real friend to play with. Mika thinks that Hasegawa is no better than her. He has been here for a month and hasn't made any friends either. The 2 people had something in common. Mika suggested that they make a plan to make friends together. She suggested hiring someone to be their friend. Hasegawa found it too difficult because if they ran out of money, they would run out of friends. He suggested joining a club. Mika refused. Now both of them are in their 2nd year. The relationships in the club were all established in their 1st year. Speaking of the club, Mika came up with a very good idea, and she ran ahead. Going back a month ago, that was when Hasegawa transferred to this school because of his father's job. As soon as he entered school, he went to the infirmary. Hasegawa ran to class. He tried his best to make a scary face because he was tired, which shocked everyone. When he got to his seat, Hasegawa realized that he forgot to bring his textbook. He borrowed it from the girl next to him, and the girl gave him the book. So there was a rumor that Hasegawa was a delinquent who appeared at the school. It lasted until now. Everything was going on as usual. Mika still didn't talk to anyone in the class. When school was over, she went to Hasegawa to take him somewhere. On the way there, she explained everything to him. She has established a club called Neighbor. The purpose is to help them make friends. Hasegawa is the first member even though he hasn't agreed yet. Mika said that she went to submit the application form for the club yesterday. When she returned to the classroom, Hasegawa had already gone home, so she signed him up. The club for the 2 of them will be in the school chapel's living room. She also said that the club will be run by one of the nuns. Then they started recruiting more members. Mika made a poster for Hasegawa to promote, and it was no different from a flyer. In fact, Mika did it on purpose. This poster can't be read in the usual way. It has to be read upside down to make sense, and those who really want to make friends will be able to solve it. The 2 of them started posting posters around the school. When they were done, it was already evening. Hasegawa didn't think anyone would understand Mika's message. As soon as he finished speaking, someone knocked on the door. Mika opened the door and locked it again, then told Hasegawa to start the club activity. She hates famous people, especially the girl outside. Who is this girl? She is the epitome of a good girl. She studies well. She is beautiful and is admired by many people, especially her super large breasts. Mika is sure that Kasi came here just to make fun of the 2 of them. However, the knocking sound outside the door still didn't stop. Kasi even tried to open the door. Mika asked her why she came, and she said that she really wanted to make friends. The three of them sat down and talked. Kasi said that she was too perfect, which made Mika very upset. So Kasi made Mika jealous because she had more friends than Mika. Mika said that if she could get rid of all the carefree people like Kasi, then she would be the one with the biggest breasts. The two of them started arguing. Hasegawa had to speak up to get them back on track. In general, Kasi has a lot of boys chasing after her, but because of that, she was alienated by the group of girls. And Kase just wanted to have more friends so that she could experience her youth. Kase was very surprised that despite Hasegawa's delinquent appearance, he was very smart. She will kiss him on the cheek as a reward. Hasegawa lead and introduced her and Mika as a couple. Hearing that, they started arguing again. He tried to leave them alone to argue as much as they wanted. The next day, Hasegawa went to the club, and Kasi was already there. A while later Mika arrived, and the club started its activity. Their plan to make friends this time was to play games. Mika brought out a game console with a popular game on it. It's a team game, so the three of them will play together to learn. 3 days later, everyone bought a game console for themselves. Hasegawa's game is still at level 1. Mika is better, she is at level 3. Surprisingly, Kasi has reached level 30. This is also the highest level in the game. In just 3 days, she has reached that level. Mika thinks that Kasi is a game addict. Kasi tried to deny it, but looking at her dark circles, the three of them started playing the game. Kasi will carry the 2 low-level players, leading to the scene at the beginning of the anime. The 2 girls then concluded that this game was useless and couldn't make friends. Hasegawa still didn't give up. In the afternoon, he saw 2 of his classmates talking about this game. He went over to talk to them to make friends, but it turned out that there was a rumor that Hasegawa had bullied a classmate, and Hasegawa's reputation was getting worse and worse. The next day, Kasi brought a PlayStation to the club. This time she wanted the group to try a dating game. It will improve everyone's communication skills. When choosing a name, Kasi wanted to choose her name, but Mika took it and changed it to Ko. When they entered the game and met the first male character, both Mika and Kasi chose to run away. Both of them thought that it was too fake to be friendly to a boy on the first meeting. The 3 of them played together until afternoon. In the game, in the library, the main character met the second male character. Hasegawa thought that the 2 of them would run away, but unexpectedly they both chose this girl as the main female character in the game. When it was the 2 girls' turn, they started to argue about the game. They all sympathized with the female protagonist. Keisei kept playing the game without paying attention to his surroundings. And in a major event in the game, the female protagonist decided to keep her distance from the male protagonist. According to Hasegawa's research, it was because of Keisei's poor choices towards the male character on the first day of school. The wrong choices made will affect the events later on. Hasegawa suggested that they apologize to the male character. However, both Keisei and Mika didn't care, and they went to explain to the female protagonist, and the result was a bad ending. The 2 girls quarreled from. The next day in front of the school, Hasegawa was stopped by Keisei, who took him to a dating game and forced him to play. Keisei had already cleared all the characters' roots and thought that dating games were the truth and the ladder to happiness. The 2 of them chatted without knowing that someone was watching them. The club activity time was approaching. Hasegawa saw Keisei going upstairs to play the game. Mika immediately pulled the laptop out of Keisei's hands, and a series of strange noises from the game echoed throughout the chapel. It turned out that Keisei was playing an 18 dating game. Mika called Keisei a pervert. Keisei defended herself, saying that this was a popular dating game, and that scenes like this were not vulgar but artistic. So Mika made Keisei read all the character dialogue. The content of the dialogue was to insert the shiny eggplant into the girl's cherry. The more Keisei read, the more embarrassed she became. When she reached the limit, she had to run out of the club. Mika even imitated Keisei's voice. Hasegawa warned her. The club activity was over and Hasegawa didn't move here to live alone. He also had a younger sister. And his younger sister was at the most rebellious stage, which was the puberty fantasy. She was a little princess. She considered herself a macadamia nut, and Hasegawa was her servant. During the meal, he had to fetch water as sour as blood for her to drink. The 2 siblings had been separated 10 years ago. At that time, they only stayed for a year, before they had to move out because of their father's work. It wasn't until 10 years later that he and his sister moved back here to live. After dinner, Hasegawa went to prepare water for the little princess to bathe. The next day, Keisei brought an 18 game to play again. She asked Hasegawa if he could swim, and when she found out that he could, she expressed her desire for him to teach her. The 2 of them agreed to go to the water park on Sunday, and not to let Mika know. As soon as Mika arrived, Keisei went out to buy a swimsuit. Sunday came, and the two of them went to the pool together. Casey's swimsuit was like a wedding dress. The swimsuit was too revealing. They walked down to the pool. Hasegawa wanted to help Casey get down, but she did it herself. The two of them then started to practice swimming. As expected of a child, Casey learned very quickly and soon knew how to swim. After swimming, they went to eat together. Hasegawa remembered that Casey's father was the principal of the school. When he had the chance, he would go over there to greet him. Kasa blushed because she thought he was flirting with her. But Hasegawa said that his father and the principal knew each other, and that he was just going to say hello. After dinner, Hasegawa went to the bathroom. As soon as he came out, he saw Casey being filmed by a group of boys. Hasegawa stepped forward and told the three of them to leave, but Casey didn't let it go. She made them apologize for insulting her. One of them tried to use violence, but Hasegawa stepped forward again. He beat them up so badly that they ran away in fear. Kasa felt more at ease, and promised to let Hasegawa lick her feet as a reward. Shega was furious and scolded her. If she didn't have him, no one would protect her, so Hasegawa hoped that Casey would be more careful next time. On the way home, the two of them sat far apart. Kasa felt a little strange in her heart, because this was the first time someone had scolded her. The two of them said goodbye on the bridge, and Casey said that they would go out again next time. On the way home, Hasegawa thought about protecting Casey, which made him feel like a child again. He was surrounded and bullied. At that time, someone stepped forward to protect him, but he punched the person who protected him and said that he didn't need anyone to protect him. So the whole group turned around and punched each other like they were playing PUBG. The two of them became friends like that. Now that the day had come for Hasegawa to move away, he told him that. You don't need 100 friends, just one friend who cares about you. Ha, Sega said as he opened the door, and Mika suddenly hit him with a book because the activity time was over, and she had to let Hasegawa go. On the way to class today, Hasegawa always felt like someone was following him. When he arrived at the club, Hasegawa found a girl sleeping there. He went over to check and was accidentally caught by Mika and Cassie, who took pictures as evidence to report to the police to arrest him. The sleeping girl also woke up. Mika introduced her as the club's advisor. Maria, the little girl, was furious as soon as she saw Mika because she had stolen her room. At that time, she was sleeping when Mika suddenly rushed in and slapped Maria in the face, saying that the Bible says that if you are sleeping and someone slaps you in the face, you must give them a room in return. Maria hurriedly followed suit, even using force to become the club's advisor. When Maria checked the Bible again, there was no such thing as a Buddha here. She insisted on getting the room back, but Mika only needed a few words of provocation to make Maria bow her head and become an advisor. Because she knew that the little girl liked to pretend to be an adult, she even made Maria go out and buy things for her. During the club activity, Haga recounted how he and the two of them had recently felt like someone was following them. Cassie immediately laughed in his face because he had let it follow him. Haga felt really stupid for confiding in them, but Mika promised to help him. The two girls then followed behind Haga to observe, and they understood Haga's feelings. Everyone gathered around Haga and made the two girls be his servants. He tried to explain, but no one listened. Haga had no choice but to go back by himself. When he went back to the classroom to get his things, he had that feeling again. Haga immediately went to a corner of the hallway, only to find out that it was just a boy. The boy immediately gave Haga a love letter because he thought Haga was hitting on him. Haga then took him to the club. This boy was a boy, but his name was Zuki, and the reason why Zuki followed Haga was because he wanted to be as strong as him. Zuki said that he was often bullied. Mika was very angry when she heard this because she hated bullies. Zuki wanted to learn Haga's lifestyle to become stronger. He said that once he was changing his gym clothes in class, and the boys all avoided him. Haga thought that he was being treated like a girl, but Mika stopped him. He invited Zuki to join the club to observe Haga, and so they had a new member. On the way home, the little princess was very upset because Haga had only mentioned the club during the meal. The next day, Zuki also brought a lot of food for Haga. His appetite was so big that Haga went to find Zuki to return the food. Suddenly, there was an explosion in the laboratory. He ran over there and found a girl passed out. He took her to the infirmary and went back to class. Later, the girl came to the class to find Haga. She was Sigu, and she came to thank him for protecting her chastity. Haga didn't understand what was going on. Sigu said that she was testing a super sleeping drug. If Haga hadn't found her at that time, and she had been taken away by the bad guys, they would have done something bad to her. The more Sigu talked, the more everyone in the class looked at Haga with different eyes. He immediately pulled Sugu away, saying that she wanted to thank Haka. Sugu dyed Haka's hair again to prevent everyone from paying attention to him. He refused because this was not dyed hair, but inherited from his mother. It was the only thing that connected him to his mother, and he didn't want to dye it. Sugu took some of Haka's hair to do an experiment and left first. She told him that he could meet her any time in the science room, even at the club. Haka didn't understand how Zuki could be more handsome when he was wearing this maid outfit. Of course, this was Mika's doing again. Haka recounted his encounter with Sugu. Kai knew her. Because she was a genius among geniuses, her father personally invited her to the school to study. Sugu had built a satellite. An industrial software. Sugu even had a private room for her inventions. Unexpectedly, Sugu also came here to join the club. With her intelligence, it was not difficult for her to decipher Mika's message. Sugu also brought a black book here, which was actually a robot on the battlefield, but according to Sugu, it was not normal. Sugu came here also because he wanted to do that with Haka. And only Sugu made Mika lose her temper when she said that friendship between the opposite sex was nonsense. Not only Mika but everyone felt uncomfortable when Sugu kept clinging to Haka, and the three of them were awakened by Haka's food smell in the morning. She was surprised when she saw him preparing 3 bento portions. Haka said that because Maria often eats, he had to make it for her. Hearing that, the 3 of them led Haka, and now of course Maria only ate bread instead of rice. She even hid a lot in the closet. Haka immediately brought a bento portion to Maria. He promised to start making meals for her from today. She asked Haka if he had a purpose, simply because she was very similar to his younger sister, so she was worried. That's why Maria started calling Haka Ang Chai. Every time she met him, she would cling to him. And now, please let Sugu know that Cassie really likes to play games so much that she has raised the level of the game by bringing virtual reality glasses. For this time, it will be from destroying the Demon King. The whole group entered the game together. Sugu was the gunner. When everyone has strong professions such as controlling plants. Time. Samurai or craftsman, Haka is a noble profession. The whole group then set off to level up. They encountered a group of water monsters. Haka realized that this was a specialty of the Ariak Sea. He begged everyone to spare them, but they didn't care and continued to attack. Haka also changed his job, so he also leveled up and got a new skill. That is the power of faith, even though it is useless. When they leveled up enough, the whole group entered the Demon King's palace. Kasi Laolin opened the bowl and was immediately knocked away, losing a female city to blood. Haka called Maria to heal her, but she had fallen asleep. Mika suggested activating the battle with Kasi, but when Kasi Laolin, Mika did not support her, causing Kasi to be attacked and leaving the game. Now is the time for Mika to show off, but outside Kasi tried to use her as a shield. She was attacked by the Demon King and left. Although Ki and Suzy were the next 2. Now only Haka is left. Maria has suddenly returned. She intended to revive everyone, but before she could cast the spell she was blown away. The sky is over. Surprisingly, when Haga saw Maria still sleeping and the controller was her, she came here to see why Haga was always like that. He also introduced his younger sister to everyone to make up for her. Haga promised to make her favorite dish. At this time, Maria woke up and ran to Haga. She was very angry with Maria. The 3 of them introduced themselves as the first mother, Dor. And so, the female priestess and the first mother met. Mika also allowed the 3 of them to join the club because there was no rule prohibiting high school students. The club's activities made everyone happy. Even though they don't play well, at least it has connected everyone. At that time, the 3 of them had already come to sleep next to Haka. In the rain, Haka met his childhood friend again. When he moved, his childhood friend did not come to say goodbye to him. It has been 3 months since its establishment, and tomorrow is the anniversary of its inception. Mika asked if anyone had made friends who fit the purpose of the club. Of course, no one has. For the past 3 months, they have only focused on playing games. Kasi suggested they go to Haka together, okay? Besides Haka and Mika, who had gone to Hack with their virtual friend to Amo, no one had gone to Hack. Mika immediately organized a trip to Hack as a club activity. Of course, Kazi was not allowed to participate. The whole group talked about Kasi, so they had to bow their heads and beg to be allowed to participate. Mika wanted to see Kasi be more sincere. She begged for mercy, but Mika refused to let her participate. Kasi remembered that this was a club activity, so whether she wanted to or not was her business. She didn't need Mika's permission. Mika was very happy that Kasi's nutrients were not used in one place. Kasi ran out of breath. Because the trip had come on a hot day. Haka and his younger sister arrived at the right place, but the girls were still arguing about who came first. On the way there, Haga met two boys playing in the park, which made him feel very nostalgic. When they arrived, Mika confidently booked a room for everyone. The price was 5,400 yen. The economic problems started to appear. Mika turned back to everyone. If she was alone in a room, she could sing noodles for 30 minutes. But if you live together, you have to share and can't sing noodles for 30 minutes. Kasi thought of a way, so Mika and Kasi each rented a room for each other. Only Haga rented a room for 4 people for all Hage. And so the 4 of them had fun while the other 2 stayed alone. Haga is Hage. Chai with his father's appearance is clear and innocent. Then Sigu Hat wanted to swallow the whole mic. The 2 girls on the other side both accidentally chose the middle song and then Hag. Hat was tired and Haga was about to go home. The 2 girls also had lived and waited for them outside. Both scenes competed to be the first to sing karaoke. The summer vacation has begun. Sigu and Zuki are very sad, because they will not see each other for the next 40 days. But Mika announced that they will still have club activities during the summer. They will discuss why no one has made new friends in 3 months. Kasi volunteered to tell everyone that it was because of Yuchai H or Zomika. So the 2 girls started to make noise again. Haga pulled the 2 people ahead because everyone around was looking at them. Kasi couldn't catch up, so she ran back first. A moment later, she came back to inform Haga. Her nephew wanted to see him as long as it was during the summer. Mika opened her mouth, then Kasi told Haga to keep it a secret to tease Mika. The summer vacation has not yet come, but Haga still has to go to school. The old lady wanted to follow her back to the house. When she arrived at the club room, Haga was relieved. Zuki was still offering food as usual. Haga had already eaten at home, so he gave the portion to Maria. He then told Zuki to make food for Maria during the summer vacation, instead of him. However, junk food is not good for children, so Haga reminded Zuki to make nutritious food. The next day, Haga went to the club, but there was no one there. Suki said that everyone was busy so they would come later, and Maria, he had given her paraffin. Looking at the mess on the table, Haga thought of Maria being forced to eat it all. He reminded Zuki to make food properly. Haga slept until afternoon, but no one came. It started to rain outside, so the 2 of them ended their activities today. The next day, everyone had gathered. Haga still has it, everyone has their own reasons. Haga thinks they should have a way to contact each other in case anyone in the club is busy. He suggested texting online but was rejected by Mika and Kak, because both had bad experiences with social media. Suzu suggested texting by phone. The whole group agreed except Kasi because she didn't have a phone. She then borrowed a corner to listen to Zuki everyone how to use the phone to text. They started to exchange contact information. Kasi sat and listened, feeling upset inside. Haga came to ask for her contact information, but she said she didn't need a phone and thought it was only for low-level people. At this time Haga received a call from Mika. She was teasing Kasi. Mika kept whispering, making Kasi extremely sad. She took Haga's phone and ran away, then called Haga's house and someone called. It was Kasi. She asked for Haga's phone model. After getting the information, she hung up. The next day, Haga went to the club and saw that Mika seemed tired today, so everyone would not have any activities to let her rest. It wasn't until late at night that Mika woke up and only Haga was left. At this time, Kasi ran to the phone she had just bought. One is similar to Haga's. Both of them exchanged addresses, and Mika was upset. Kasi then expressed her intention to give Mika her address. Of course, even if the sky fell, she would not give Kasi the word when Kasi licked her. Kasi scolded Mika for being stupid and ran away. Mika didn't make it easy for Kasi like that. She took Kasi's address from Haga and started spamming messages to Kasi's phone, making Kasi have to hurry and run back to rescue Haga. Seeing the 2 of them so close together made Mika more and more unbearable. Today at Haga's house, I found that the air conditioner was broken. He called and they said they would bring a new one in 3 days. Miss Ba couldn't wear the combat suit in this hot weather, so she had to change into normal clothes. She then went to the club with Haga because it had air conditioning. When they got there, Maria rushed to Haga and locked him up, saying that she wanted to eat him again today. Miss Ba didn't like Maria, so the 2 of them started fighting again. It was like a miniature version of Mika and Katsi. During the fight, Sakuba bit Maria's hand, making her panic because she thought she was going to turn into a vampire. Mika pointed out that the only way to do that was to run around in the sun, and then she would turn into a vampire. Maria did as she was told. Kasi and Sigu were very interested in Koaba, so they kept looking at her with perverted eyes and panting heavily. Mika stopped them both. The club activities began, and Haga suggested that the whole group go to the pool to relax. Kasi was playing a game happily when she also suggested that they have fun at the pool. Mika objected, but Koaba also wanted to go, so the whole group decided to go swimming. The majority won, so Mika agreed. Maria couldn't join them because she was being punished. The next day the whole group prepared to go swimming. It was crowded everywhere. On the way there, both Mika and Sugu felt nauseous, and were about to vomit on Haka. Koaba had to deal with a pair of breasts. When they got there was already a long line, so they couldn't go back, so they joined the line. Finally, it was their turn. Ruki followed Haka to the locker room and everyone looked at him. Haka shouted at the boys to leave so that Ruki could change in peace. It took him a long time to get Ruki to change, and the reason why he was wearing a swimsuit was because Mika had made it for him. The two of them met up with Kasi and Miss Ba that way. The other two were still nauseous, so they went to the river. There were so many people around that they couldn't have much fun. Haka and Kasi waited for a long time, but Mika and Siku didn't show up. Suddenly, Kasi received a message saying that they were going home first. Haka ran outside and saw that they were already in the car, unconscious. When he went back to play, he lost track of everyone else, who were also unconscious. The next day, everyone received a message from Mika telling them to bring their swimsuits to the club. When they got there, they saw a horse costume. It was actually Mika. Siku said that everyone would be wearing swimsuits for the activities today. And because Mika was embarrassed, she was wearing a horse costume to cover up. Maria also came to join in the fun. She was scared as soon as she saw Mika. Mika played along and pretended to eat Maria. Mika even put the horse costume on her, making her even more scared. Kasi said that if Mika was too embarrassed to show her body to everyone, why didn't they all go to her private beach house? It turned out that Katsi's family had a private beach house. She said that everyone could even stay overnight there. The whole group agreed, and Kasi went home to ask her parents for permission. The next day, Haka received a call from Katsi. She told him to come visit her house today. Her parents really wanted to meet him. Haka agreed since he wanted to meet them too. Mika later received a message from Katsi and Haka saying that they were going to stay overnight. She and Miss Ba took a taxi to Katsi's house. After a long taxi ride, they arrived at the outskirts of Katsi's house. The two of them had to walk a long way from the gate to the front door. Katsi's parents came out to greet them, and everyone introduced themselves. Katsi's father noticed that Haka was staring at her 100% of the time, and he felt a little embarrassed. Katsi's parents were cold on the outside, but warm on the inside. They were just pretending to be strict, but they really wanted to meet Haka. Everyone started to have dinner. Katsi's parents could sense their daughter's feelings for Haka. Haka thanked Katsi's parents for helping him so much with his transfer. He stayed up late talking to them. When they were finished, Katsi's parents suggested that the two of them stay overnight because there were no taxis available. Haka wanted to refuse, but Katsi's parents had already prepared everything. Miss Ba was also sleepy, so Haka decided to stay. Katsi took Miss Ba to her bedroom. Suddenly she woke up and took advantage of Miss Ba's grogginess to take her to the bathroom. Haka was invited by Katsi's father to have a drink. It was a special drink that even students could drink. He seemed to have a low tolerance for alcohol, because after just one drink, he passed out and fell asleep on the couch. Haka went outside to find Katsi's father and accidentally bumped into Miss Ba, who was running around in a daze. Katsi was following behind Miss Ba, and Haka saw everything. Katsi was embarrassed, so she ran out of the house. Katsi's father then came and took Miss Ba to change her clothes, while Katsi's mother stayed to clean up. Her father would be back to normal soon. The room was already cleaned up, so he had to sleep with Katsi's father. The next day, the two of them headed home. Haka had to pretend that he didn't see anything yesterday because Kasi was worried. Katsi's father also asked him to take care of her. Kasi then walked the two of them to the taxi. The day of the beach trip had arrived. On the train ride, the girls fought over who would sit next to Haka, making Mika and Kasi uncomfortable. After getting off the train, they had to walk for an hour before reaching Kasi's house. As soon as they passed through the forest, Miss Ba could smell the ocean, but they had to go to the house first. It was a beautiful view that could only be seen from the top. The group started drawing lots to divide the rooms. Once they had their rooms, they changed and went to the beach. Shigu suggested that they all go swimming naked. When they were all naked, they felt very embarrassed. They played in the ocean under the sun, while Haka went fishing. In the evening, Haka cooked dinner for everyone. The following days were filled with fun activities for the group. On the last day, Shigu suggested that everyone play a game of truth or dare. Mika agreed. They would tell each other scary stories and then go to the bathroom. The game began. Shigu went to the bathroom to tell her story. She told a story about a robot ghost which wasn't scary at all. Sig also wasn't scared. Haka didn't know what was so scary about her story. Only Mika was able to tell a really scary story. It was the story of Aiko's ghost. The story goes that in the third-floor girls' bathroom of the school, a female student went missing and was murdered many years ago. One day, a curious female student decided to investigate. She went in and turned on the light, but the mirror was covered in cold fog. Suddenly, a bloody handprint appeared on the mirror. Ako panicked and ran out, but the door seemed to be locked. A cold voice said, "Give me back my life, Mika." The story scared everyone, so they decided to stop going to the bathroom and go to bed. Haka couldn't sleep because of the story. Suddenly, a hand opened the door in front of him. Haka thought it was a ghost, but it was actually Cassie, who wanted him to go to the bathroom with her. Cassie was very scared after hearing Mika's story. After Haka left, Miss Ba also got scared. Seagull came next. She didn't want to go to the bathroom, but she wanted to cuddle with him, so she was pushed out. When it was everyone else's turn to go to the bathroom, it was finally his turn. He stepped out of the door and accidentally met Mika-chan. She seemed to be scared of her own story too. The two of them then took turns going to the bathroom. After they were done, it was already morning, and everyone started to head home. That night, Haka had another dream about his childhood friend. They used to play together all the time, but Haka couldn't remember his friend's name. A week before the summer vacation ended, Haka took the opportunity to finish the pile of homework that he hadn't done. He looked at the assignments and realized why it took a month to do them. At this time, Mika mentioned a summer festival that was being held nearby. She said that she didn't want to go because of the crowds, and Sigil agreed with her. Takoyaki, she had heard that it was very delicious, so she wanted to try it at the festival. Haka also wanted to try it because it had been a long time since he had it, of course during the summer. Miss Ba and Maria also wanted to go. Suddenly, Mika and Sigil changed their minds and wanted to go too. Haka was happy because everyone liked Takoyaki, but he didn't know that they just wanted to go with him. So the whole group went to the festival. Only Sigil. Makiokata's third daughter is very beautiful, while Haka is no different from Cassie, who is just a street urchin. She thought that the key point was his hair, so she dyed it black. Haka refused because it was the only thing that connected him to his deceased mother. And he didn't want to lose this connection. Cassie was very understanding and then took the two brothers to the festival. When they arrived, Maria had already eaten a lot of food, even though she had bought a lot of food for everyone. Especially the takoyaki. After eating this dish, everyone went to the festival together. Cassie and Mika challenged each other to catch fish. One was very difficult, so Cassie paid to buy a dozen chickens to make it easier to catch. Even so, she only caught one, and the two continued to compete. Haka took the rest of the group to play other games, and after playing, they gathered to play fireworks again. To end the outing, Mika would shoot a large firework, but she accidentally set fire to her hair while she wasn't paying attention. Haka immediately splashed water on her. Although her hair was fine, this situation was a bit embarrassing, but a confident smile could not be avoided. Mika asked to go home first, and the outing ended just like that before it was over. The outing was over and everyone started to go back to school. Haka thought that Mika would not come to school, but she came to class with her hair down. The image of her friend from the previous year suddenly appeared. Haka called out Sora's name, and Mika turned around happily. She was very happy that he remembered, and the two looked at each other with affectionate eyes, not noticing that everyone in the class didn't understand what was going on. They were pulled back to reality by the teacher, and after school, Haka went to talk to Mika, and she dragged him around. She asked him how he felt when he saw her again. Haka simply said he was surprised, and that she was very cute with her hair down. The two then went to the club. Mika said that she had recognized him from the beginning, but he had forgotten her, so what was the point of saying anything? It was understandable because Haka always thought Mika was a boy, so it was no wonder. She had wanted to tell him for a long time, but he suddenly disappeared. It was when she chased him out before he moved away. At that time, she was embarrassed and wanted to let him know, but then she was too shy to face him. Anyway, this matter will be a secret between the two of them. Mika hoped that Haka would not tell anyone. Then they went to the club. Sigu didn't recognize Mika, so she thought she was a new member, and was very excited. Only Kasi realized that this was her opponent. Sigu hurriedly ran away. Kasi thought that Mika had just fallen in love, so she changed her hair and laughed as if she had bought it, and immediately got a punch from Mika. A moment later, Sigu brought a cosplay costume for Mika. Seeing Sigu being so enthusiastic, Mika also did it. A moment later when Maria arrived, Haga and Zuki were already outside the door. The little girl said that the two of them were being punished. Then the three of them walked in. Mika now looked like a commander-in-chief. Maria realized that Mika was like the two of them who went to eat her sister, so she hurriedly hid behind Haga. Mika followed suit and threatened her. The third daughter had just arrived and was immediately used as a sacrifice by Maria. Mika didn't intend to eat the third daughter, so Kasi went down to the dining room to find her. The club was as lively as usual, but Haga was very happy to find a friend to talk to. But what will happen in the future? Perhaps time will tell. After playing, everyone started their club activities. I don't know what they learned, but the next day when Haga came to the club, he saw Kasi shaved bald. In fact, the whole group had agreed that it would be easier to make people laugh if they turned themselves into clowns, so they were disguising themselves. Kasi became a civil servant, and Mika cosplayed as Kasi, and even wrote the word abandon on her forehead. This club can't do without the quarrels of these two people. Haga told them to look at themselves first. As soon as they looked, they both felt embarrassed, and Haga was proud of doing something different from others. But it's telling jokes. What kind of jokes? What kind of jokes tomorrow? What is traditional tea called? Tea that explodes. My two friends laughed, but at least it was better than Kasi's weird hair. Speaking of hair, Mika thought she should change some popular hairstyles. Kasi started to get interested. Also Mika tempted Kasi to let them do her hair, and the two of them used the standard words they had learned. Just trust me. Even if it's not beautiful, it's at least better than 30 mistakes. And Kasi agreed to let the two of them try after hearing the sweet talk. They started to think of all kinds of hairstyles for Kasi. Haga looked at them and was speechless. They even asked Zuki to go around and get some more materials, even the system to buy the system. Zuki went around and saw Maria being punished for cutting grass. Hearing what Zuki needed, the little girl gave him some bugs, and then he brought back all kinds of things like watermelon and fireworks. A moment later, the result was a white hair like no one else, but with the sweet words of Mika and Sigu. Kasi believed the guarantee without any doubt, and happily ran home to show her father. Haga couldn't say anything about the destruction of these two girls. The next day Kasi cried and told Haga that she had been teased because of her new hairstyle. The other two also felt that they had gone too far, so they apologized to Kasi, and the exam was approaching. Haga often stayed in the library to study more than going to the club. He received a message from Kasi, because she was having a hard time with only Zuki here. Haga glanced at it and continued to study, but Haga was taking the exam. Kasi had already asked him to come to her house to study together. Haga asked the third daughter to go there to play, but she seemed to be obsessed with Kasi, so he went there alone. As soon as he got off the Severs, Kasi's father was standing at the villa to welcome him. He was always looking forward to Haga coming to play. Kasi came to take Haga to her room. Inside there were unexpectedly all kinds of pictures of Mika. Kasi was taking the opportunity to take revenge on Mika. She even bought back the wig that Mika had worn so that every time she saw it, Kasi would not forget this grudge. Haga saw that Kasi was even more pitiful than Mika. The two of them started to study, and sitting opposite Kasi made him see her breasts, which made Haga unable to concentrate. Then this manager came out to report to Haga. She came to deliver some more food to Haga. Kasi wanted to see what it was, but he refused to let her. After studying, they chose a game to play. It was getting dark, and Haga asked to go home. Of course, Kasi didn't let him go so easily. He kept him for dinner, and then slept over to play games, knowing that he couldn't refuse, so he sent a message to his sister to take out the food in the refrigerator and bring it over. After finishing, Haga went to take a bath, and unexpectedly, Kasi's father came in and wanted to scrub his back for him, and the two men scrubbed each other's backs. Kasi's father mentioned that she seemed to be being bullied at school. Haga heard that it was about her hair. He was worried, but Haga said that Kasi was just too sensitive. But if she was really being bullied, he would protect her. Hearing what he wanted to hear, Kasi's father was very happy and handed his daughter over to Haga. The club seems to have a new member today, but in fact, Sugu has just taken off her glasses. And she is not nearsighted at all. She just wears glasses because she thinks it's cool. She asked Haga how she looked when she took off her glasses. To be honest, the glasses had already covered Sigu's beautiful face. When the glasses were removed, Sigu became the most unique among the flowers, which made Haga also have to sigh. He accidentally said what he was thinking, which made Sigu blush, but the others were envious. Sigu climbed up the stage and did that with Haga. He could only sigh because this beauty was being ruined by his bad personality. Although he didn't get Haga, Sigu turned to borrow Kasi's TV to watch an 18 anime. She was repeatedly punished by Mika, so she had to find a place to do it alone. Sigu retorted that it was true that there was a village tube, but this film only talked about the close friendship between brothers. Sigu hoped that Mika would not judge a book by its cover, and Haga also agreed with Sigu. He was the victim of that matter more than anyone else, and after all the tests, she had to watch it too. At first, the story was quite controversial, but gradually, the anime attracted Mika and Kasi with its distant friendship. The two people in the movie had already confessed their feelings to each other, which made Mika cry with emotion. In summary, Haga felt that this film. Too many anime talk about the friendship of sleeping together and sharing a blanket, but Cassie's game is all about banging and fucking like monkeys. Mika can confidently read the characters' lines, but Kasi doesn't dare. Kasi doesn't believe it, and reopens the anime. Mika reads it fluently without missing a single word, which makes Kasi extremely upset when it comes to Kasi's game lines. In general, she also dares to read like this. Ani is bored. Let's put the big Excalibur and your solution into me. She read very loudly, and the wind made everyone very embarrassed. Mika had to bow her head and apologize for underestimating the dating game. Kasi ran away in shame, and the 10th activity finally ended. On the way home, Haga met a nun who was building a coffee shop. This nun looked very much like a developed version of Maria. The nun started talking to him first. She introduced herself as Taka. Haga can be called a nun or Mother Taka. She is still a nun, and if Haga has anything to worry about, just contact her. At this time, Maria came to Haga, and when she saw Taka, even though she was a nun, she called her Basa Taka, which made the nun very angry and twisted Maria's head. Although she was in great pain, Maria still insisted that she was Basa, and we know that Taka is Maria's younger sister. Maria ran away as soon as she escaped, saying that Taka was very grateful to her as a neighbor. Remember that she's the one who made Maria more active than before, not for nothing that Maria always thinks she is the best. But when she just buried her head in her studies, the result was among the top, too good to be arrogant. However, with the appearance of Mika, Maria never dared to say that I am better than her. From then on, Maria had to be more careful when speaking. Although grateful, Taka didn't know who would let a child run around outside in the sun when it was hot. Taka just reminded him and left, and the nun let out a sigh before leaving. A season has begun, and Haga is on his way to the club. Mika came looking for him. She saw that her friends often checked each other's answers after the river exam, so she wanted to do the same. The two happily exchanged. In the water, Mika was happy when Cassie came. Lost, Mika couldn't compare the answers. Of course, Cassie refused to compare the answers with Mika. Waited to go home, and Haga made her a fried chicken dish. There was a knock on the door outside. Haga told her to check if it was a newspaper man, then change it. Suddenly Haga heard her voice very loudly. He ran out to see that it was Maria who had come here. In another room, Haga learned that the little girl had run away from home because of an argument with Taka. The nun called to tell him. It was not surprising that it was Taka. The nun asked Haga to take care of Maria and she would come there tomorrow. The fried chicken was done. Maria had to pray for a long time before she could eat. While she just wished her a good appetite, Maria prayed and worried that she would eat both of them and then fight over the chicken. Haga just went out to listen to the conversation, and came back to see that the two of them had eaten his share. When he was done, he went to take a bath, and after taking a bath, she asked Maria to play a game. And she sold Maria the whole game, playing for a while, and Maria was tired and fell asleep. The next day, Taka personally came to drag Maria back. The final exam was over and everyone organized a party to celebrate. Ruki couldn't drink chicken water, but he still drank it to get a second place. Seeing that, Haga drank for him, accidentally creating an indirect kiss, talking about chicken water. Haga remembered that Mika seemed to be the same when she was young. The two of them laughed and talked, making everyone suspicious. When they were done, everyone switched to playing Who is the King. Kasi insisted on making Mika lick on the bridge. Haga knew that this would happen, so he had to change it a little. That is, the king can only do what everyone writes on paper. The game started when they finished writing. The first king was Kasi. She peeled off the number 4 swimsuit, which is what she wrote. She wrote that no matter who the enemy is, Kasi is sure that number 4 is Mika, but instead it is her. The next king is Mika. She peeled off the number 5 and asked everyone to do it, and that was Maria. The next king is still Kasi. She peeled off the same look that the king had to go to the convenience store and spend all my money. No one else knows how to do this except Mika. She even marked it so that it wouldn't be peeled off until she was king. She asked number 5 to open her chest, and that was Haga. She looked at it, and it was soft. Then the challenges started to appear one after another, playing until the afternoon, and Kasi was the last king. She peeled off the look that everyone had written, and said that number 3 should kiss the king, no one else but Haga. They couldn't do anything because the king's order was the law. When the two lips were about to touch, Mika stopped them. Haga thought of a way to drink Kasi's water as if the two had kissed each other, and the game ended. Everyone went out and Kasi had something lingering in her mind. That's it. Haga called to ask about the two brothers, and he mentioned that Haka and Kasi would get married. In fact, he didn't know what was going on. Suddenly Kasi called him and told him that the two of them would get married. He seemed to be building. Haka said he would take care of it. Haga didn't care much about this, but when Haga joked that she already had a boyfriend. So he jumped up and changed the water quickly to see who dared to flirt with his daughter, and then made up for the fact that he made her wear a swimsuit. Kasi brought out tickets to the amusement park. These are VIP tickets so they can have fun and meet her favorite character in real life. Mika looked through it and saw that the tickets were for 6 people, just enough for everyone, so everyone would go together to avoid waste. Maria was very excited until they were missing a drawing. Kasi would ask her father for another drawing. Maria was overjoyed, and after the activity Haga returned with Kasi. He asked Kasi if her father had said anything. She said that he just built a lie and gave it to her to go out and play. The day of the outing has come. Haga volunteered to be a tour guide, but the girls wanted to try the roller coaster first. Everyone was looking forward to this day. Haga warned them, but no one cared. When the train was very high, everyone was excited. The higher the train, the excitement gradually turned into fear. And when the train plunged down, everyone was scared and pale, and at the end of the room, they were all tired and only Maria was still excited. The loudspeaker sounded Vang Lin. The performance that she was looking forward to was coming. Kasi was about to ask her to go, but she pulled Haga there, and the old man came to scare the play. Kasi wanted to get close to her by telling the details of her favorite anime. However, telling the wrong details in the anime made a 25-year-old fan like her very upset and even more dislike Kasi. After that, the performance began, and the performer needed someone around to be a lover. Kasi volunteered to get the fruit for her. The MC said they needed a baby, not a mother. Kasi was embarrassed, thinking that everyone thought she was a family. She then went up to be a lover. Everyone started to have fun with the play. After it ended, she got an autograph from the little girl's head. After playing, everyone started to eat, and after eating, everyone continued to try many other games. Kasi and Mika challenged each other to the roller coaster to see who was the most scared. I don't know how they played, but when Haga came to check, both of them were very tired. When asked, they found out that they had played 8 times in a row. He was about to take them both to rest when they vomited all over him. The ground floor of this park also has a hot spring area. Haga went to bathe with Zuki. Maria also followed because the smell of the other two was still there. In the water, Haga suddenly called Zuki to turn her back to him. The more he blocked it, the more fake it became. At this time, Maria walked in. She wondered why Haga had something hanging down but Zuki didn't. When she heard it, she realized that it was still there. What kind of life is this? There is no boy who gives birth to a girl like this. He turned back to look for sure. It was not wrong. He then told everyone. Sigu couldn't hold back. It was really not true. Haga asked Sigu to enlighten Zuki. She then led Zuki to the bathroom to solve the problem. A moment later, Zuki came out and accepted the truth. She burst into tears because she couldn't be a man. The Sai didn't understand why she did this, because this was Zuki's family business. Zuki can't be a man, but Zukin. He didn't refuse to do anything, and Mika liked to hope when she was too careless in her plan to deceive and fail. After everyone went home, Zuki changed from a morning maid to continue serving Haka the next day. He didn't wonder much because this was Mika's gift. He looked at the morning sign and saw that she was playing the Believe dating game. She had Mika try it out because she thought Mika had become too rotten after watching the anime last time. Mika refused. She thought games like this were useless, and Sigu immediately refuted with that idea. Haka thought she shouldn't judge a book by its cover again, and in the end she had to try the game. Like last time, Sigu immediately took the handle to name it for Mika. This time, Sigu was not satisfied because Sigu was playing her, and Sigu thought it was ruining the fun of playing the game for others. After a while, she also entered the game, and the story was no different from the dating game that Sigu played for the first time. One thing is that Mika did not focus on developing character relationships, but she focused on upgrading all stats. From intelligence to strength, she ignored all opportunities to develop feelings and an event where the female lead was bullied by thugs. Mika was confident with a 900-ton attack stat. However, a male character rushed out to call her, and seeing this person's personality was very similar to Hasegawa, Mika decided to date him. After a period of developing character feelings, the ending was still a bad ending. The female warrior decided not to end the female in a lonely state after 4 years of college. Mika burst into tears in sympathy with the female warrior. Sigu said that because Mika only developed a relationship with a male character, it would lead to this outcome. Mika had a different thought about the game. It was better than she thought, and the next day, Hasegawa came to the club. Sigu changed her hair color again, and she had invented a hair dye that did no harm. Hasegawa was bored because Segu's inventions, although useful, were not groundbreaking, and he wanted something that would surprise him. It's like a black pin that zooms in and out of two time machines, capturing Hasegawa's idea. Sigu will create a breakthrough, and the next day, Sigu will develop a time necklace. It will allow the wearer to go back in time for 5 minutes, and Hasegawa is honored to try it. He went in and was suddenly taken back to when he was about to break up with Mika. He held her back and apologized for leaving suddenly. Before he could figure out what was going on, Mika suddenly turned into a horse and attacked him, and Hasegawa woke up. Sigu said that in fact, this glass is just a hypnotic that makes the wearer sleepy. Sigu thought this was a joke. This time, Hasegawa had to admit that this invention really surprised him. But what surprised him more was when everyone knew he was dreaming about the past and kept calling Mika's name. Everyone was surprised because no one told them, and Mika thought it was unnecessary to say. After that announcement, it seemed that everything was still going on as usual at the meeting. Hasegawa mentioned that the school will have a cultural festival soon. Mika immediately refused to participate because these things were only for ordinary people to participate in, so they would not participate. On the contrary, Cassie was very proud because she participated in the festival every year. She won first place in sports games, and she also participated in drama and culture. Shigu thought that people looked at Cassie too much, so they belong. In short, Mika didn't want to participate so that she could have private time with Hasegawa. However, Cassie ruined it, and she wanted her neighborhood club to participate in the festival with everyone. Everyone agreed, so Mika had to follow, and her neighborhood club would participate this year. First, they need to find a theme for the booth, and Cassie suggested that all the maids be arrested immediately. Mika didn't like having to serve the lower class, and Hasegawa saw that the maid was fine because he could serve. Shigu laughed, and Hasegawa told her to do it without laughing. Without saying much, Shigu played the role, and she borrowed Zuki's maid outfit to serve Hasegawa. Shigu is a daisy maid, and as soon as she meets a guest, she punches her. And then she tells the guest not to drink coffee, and she does enough for Hasegawa's style. In conclusion, Hasegawa didn't like this service, and it was Cassie's turn to be a maid. She's a cute maid, and Cassie does enough for the registration, and the heart for her coffee is better. But while she was doing it, she ran too far forward, and in the end, the maid cafe theme was abandoned. The meeting ended without going anywhere, and everyone went home, and Hasegawa took the lead. He turned around to get it and saw Mika trying on a maid outfit, and the next day, everyone continued to meet. There are 2 new proposals, the witch's house and the fairy, and Hasegawa is interested in the fairy. Mika is not fascinated by the exotic, but she can use it to make money for the ignorant crowd, and then she tries it for Cassie. Mika said that everything was similar to what Cassie did, and Cassie was very surprised. Sigu knew that Mika was using the Baru effect. It is a psychological effect when someone says something that is true to one person and everyone else, and it makes them think that the other person knows everything about them. Cassie has been hit by that, and Mika tells her that she is facing a decline. To solve it, she must go to the mysterious night and turn on the electricity on her head, and Cassie believes it as a child, listens to her father. Mika had to laugh, and that's when Cassie did it and was spanked. The next day Cassie ran up to scold Mika. What she wanted was not to be punished, but Mika took advantage of her trust. She was very happy when Mika knew her well, but she took it out to make her laugh, and Mika also felt that she had gone too far. The 3 of them were silent like that and came to the club, and today, the 3 of them came to the sky. As soon as she saw the little girl, Cassie was happy again, and she would forgive Mika this time. Sigu has prepared some things for the fairy booth, and there are enough fortune-telling books. Hasegawa read the birth date fortune-telling book, and suddenly remembered that the little girl's birthday was coming, so Cassie wanted to hold a birthday party for her. Waiting at home while Hasegawa was reading, he received a message from Cassie asking him to buy a gift for the little girl in the afternoon. Then he received invitations from everyone in the club, one by one. The teacher was very quiet. Hasegawa included everything in one day and went shopping together. When he got to the appointment, he saw that everyone was upset. When they got on the train, they also had a guide, and Sigu secretly asked Hasegawa not to touch the pain or if it was natural. Hasegawa noticed that Sigu only wore her clothes and not her usual clothes. He saw that she was already beautiful, so if she had another uniform, her beauty would be enhanced. Sigu blushed when she heard it, and she asked Hasegawa to take her shopping when she had the chance. Hasegawa refused because she was taken care of from A to Z, and Mika shopped online for convenience. When it came to shopping, Hasegawa and Chiexi went separately with the other three. He and Chiexi went to the picture shop to choose for the little girl. Hasegawa reminded her not to buy anything too expensive for the little girl. While choosing, Hasegawa was attracted by the hourglass, so he stayed there for an hour while Chiexi waited outside. After choosing, the two took a break at the coffee shop. At this time, Chiexi asked him if he had any feelings for Mika, Hagu, and Ruki no Dot. Seiga said bluntly that he wanted to finish it first, and then he would think about love. If you don't have friends, how can you have a girlfriend? Axe what she thought when she found out that he and Mika were childhood friends. Ixexi just felt surprised, but she assured him that she would never lose. Then the two met up with everyone, and Zigu had chosen a very pretty outfit. As for Mika, she said nothing, and one outfit was no different from the other. Ruki dressed in Mika's style, and it seemed that she was still allergic to crowds, so Mika asked for permission to go home first. She will go through a nearby store and choose for the little girl, and everyone will end the shopping in return. The birthday has arrived, and everyone is busy preparing a birthday party for the little girl. When the little girl arrived, everyone fired a rope of congratulations, and Chiexi had made a special birthday cake with her and the little girl. Then everyone sang a birthday song for her, and when it came time to blow out all the candles, they started the birthday party. Mika immediately took Cxe's picture to break the ice, and the most anticipated part was giving gifts. She received meaningful gifts one after another, the last one being Cxe. She gave her a premium cut of meat after learning that she liked to eat meat, and Zijia would make hot pot for his younger sister. Eizi wanted to come with him to the spiritual competition but was rejected. On the way home, she was still very happy. When Exiga bought the groceries, he saw Keixi's shadow outside his house. It turned out that Maria had come to the sky, so she came here to eat hot pot with them. During the banquet, Caz reminded Maria to give a gift to Kei, which was a fire-shaped necklace. The little girl was very happy, but did not forget to tease Maria. Eating raw meat also caused acne, so he invited the two sisters to stay for a night. The next day, Zijia sent the two sisters off. Before leaving, Cxe said, "If only you were a real relative of theirs, it would be great." At that time he didn't understand, but he would find out the meaning of Kxe's words when he had the chance. Later, Ziga took Ca to the Sky Club. Gaxi wanted to lick her as soon as he saw her. Then they started the topic of the festival again. Ziga suggested cat cafes, but Mika refused. She didn't believe there was heaven in this rotten world. Xiga remembered that Ca had also participated in the cultural festival, so he asked her what topic she had done at that time. Ka avoided it, but Zijia threatened that he would not make a meal for her. Ka had to say that she was acting in a movie and that she was the main character. Adia was very happy. She insisted on going to see her performance. But who was the main character here? It was obvious that Chie was avoiding the topic. Siga was glad that his younger sister had returned to everyone because not everyone had the opportunity to perform. He promised that if Chie did well, he would make her favorite dish. Kang happily ran back to the classroom to join everyone. Nikar also had an idea for the club's performance. It was also acting in a movie. Everyone agreed, but now there was another problem. What was the movie about? Everyone was arguing over the script. Some wanted boy love, while others wanted samurai. Just then, Maria came to the sky. Sigu decided to let Maria choose the best two scripts. At that time, Ziga received a message from Mika asking him to go to the movies. She also said in advance that only the two of them would go to the movies, without the others. And the owner. When Exigia arrived at the meeting point, he saw that she was still wearing the same outfit as before. Mika still didn't have a plan, so they would choose a movie to watch. She chose a movie with a sex scene that made them both embarrassed. When they went outside, they were still feeling hot. Mika asked Ikshigia to go to a cafe to cool down. She walked in the opposite direction, but she actually wanted to lead him to this place. It was a cat cafe. It turned out that Mika was a real cat person. She loved cats, but she lived in a residential area. However, even if she was given a cat, she would not raise it. Because the night's breath, the cat that she and Ziga had found at the top of the mountain 15 years ago, had passed away. The two of them had spent a lot of time looking for food for it, and one day, they found that it had passed away. Mika was still upset about it, and the two of them said goodbye at the end of the street. Soon Mika finished the script for the movie. Today, Ex-Igu also had a crush on her favorite character, and she was immediately scolded by her. Then the roles were assigned. Mika was the female lead. Hasegawa was the female lead's best friend, and Chaexe was the villain. Even though he was a boy who secretly loved Hasegawa, Zegu was the female lead's cousin and Hasegawa's. Maria was Hasegawa's younger sister. Of course, Chaexe objected because she didn't like being a villain. Of course, her words didn't carry any weight with Mika, but Zegu was different. She pointed out the flaws in the casting, according to Hasegawa's character, as a famous, handsome, tall, and friendly person. Kaede, on the other hand, was completely the opposite. Hasegawa felt hurt when he heard this. Mika had assigned this role to Hasegawa because they were both best friends of the opposite sex. Zegu continued to argue that if the female lead was not Mika, then it should not be Hasegawa, her best friend. Zegu suggested that the roles be assigned according to popularity, so Mika's plan failed. According to the popularity vote, even though she was the female lead, Mika was the best friend. Maria was the villain, and Chaexe secretly liked the best friend. Zegu was still the cousin. Hasegawa was the younger sister, and the person who voted for him was Kaede. He wanted to choose again, but seeing that the order was about to be set, he didn't dare to speak up anymore, lest the movie become a disaster. So Hasegawa would be the villain, and Maria would be the younger sister. It was all agreed upon. However, once again, the script changed. The villain was now the best friend of the female lead and the best friend. Sae realized that Mika was trying to pull Hasegawa closer to her. Kaede advised Mika to be more realistic, and not to use her best friend as a shield. And so the atmosphere in the room started to get tense. This was the first time Kaede had ever contradicted Mika. Kaede argued that if Mika kept trying to change that friendship, it would soon become worthless. Mika was so angry that she started to cry and ran away. Not long after, Hasegawa had a conversation with Mika. He asked her if 10 years ago, or the present, was more important. She chose 10 years ago. Hasegawa asked if he was not important to her now. Mika started to hesitate, so he would wait for her to think it over. Not long after, Mika revised the script, and everyone was very satisfied with everything. In the following days, everyone started to focus on filming from morning till night without rest. The day of the announcement of the results had arrived. Xiaxan at the top of the list, and Mika was not far behind. At this time, Hasegawa noticed that there was also a person below him. The girl also saw him. She was KXE's class representative, and she was ranked second in the whole school below KXE, so he was very proud of her. She was not only smart and beautiful, but she also had a cool personality. It was the first time Hasegawa had heard someone else call him cool, and he was very happy. But he had to admit that it was not Hasegawa's personality. Unexpectedly, Uexa recognized Hasegawa's personality, and did not judge him by his appearance. He was very impressed with this girl when he came to her class. When she left, Hasegawa saw that only Kawaii was there. The others were looking for a place to take pictures. Hasegawa told her about meeting Uexa Ayadadake. Kaxi didn't care and didn't even bother to remember. She didn't remember those who were inferior to her. She didn't even look at them. It was not without reason that Kazi was so arrogant. She was already very good. She didn't need to look at the score sheet to know that she was always at the top. Kaze only needed to look at it once to understand, and the time she studied with Hasegawa was the first time she had ever studied. It was enough to know that Kaze was strong, and that arrogance was the privilege of the strong. Aga felt very lucky to have XA as a friend. If she were an enemy, even the heavens would not be able to bear him. The only person who could beat her was probably Mika. At this time, Mika also came to ask everyone to go filming. Today he still didn't have a role. He just followed along. He went back early in the afternoon. XA suddenly appeared. He came to see the excitement of the young people, but he also wanted to see how far the relationship between Hasegawa and Kaitsi had come. He looked at them with a serious expression, as if he had found something wrong. He asked them how long they had been dating, and Hasegawa said that they had not been dating, which shocked him and made him run away. The next day, Hasegawa was dragged by KXE to talk privately at the church. XE told him everything. It seemed that her father had misunderstood the situation. He had given her a pass to go out before. He thought that the two of them were going on a date, so he had made a big fuss. But it didn't matter. She had already explained everything to him. However, it would not be long before the two of them started dating because her father and his father had decided to arrange a marriage for them a long time ago. It was called an arranged marriage. Gakusei also had a picture of the two of them playing together when they were young. In the end, Hasegawa thought that they didn't need to take this marriage too seriously. A marriage without love would not go anywhere. He advised her to let it go. It would be better for both of them. Keiichi also asked Ka and Hai returned to the club to continue filming, when suddenly Maria ran over to congratulate Hasegawa. She had heard from Taka that he was going to marry Kaexi, so she came to congratulate him on the news that he had wanted to keep secret. So they had to tell everyone what had happened. Mika, who had also heard, thought that his future wife had a higher chance of winning than his childhood friend, and Mika was so upset that he couldn't continue filming. Bui filmed this kiss with Hasegawa, and they waited until the afternoon to go home. Hasegawa met the person who had caused him all this trouble, and Taka said that it wasn't his fault and that he should ask Keii's father, because he had told everyone he knew, and perhaps all the nuns and teachers in the school knew that the two were going to get married, even though it was too early to get married. Taka knew that the club was making a film, and Maria had given the script to the nun. The nun thought it was very similar to a popular film that had recently come out, so she was very excited and asked Hasegawa for the name so that she could buy it and watch it. As a result, Hasegawa discovered that Mika had stolen the script without asking, and the next day she was waiting for him in the club. But it would be a waste to give up filming, and the school festival was approaching, so there wouldn't be time to write a new script. However, Kaexi's genius brain was not for show, and she had anticipated Mika's move and had already written a backup script. And this was the second time that Kaexi had beaten Mika, so Mika had to follow Kaexi's orders, and then everyone started filming. This time the script had all the elements, from magical girls to samurai and even saints, and while filming, Hasegawa asked Seeger to take the camera back to her lab. There was another secret room there, which was the room she used to edit videos with everyone. Hasegawa watched it, and the effects were better than in a horror film. Seeger even had footage of the neighboring club. Most of the footage was of the girls. Seeger said that she would use it as material to make 3D models for the game she was making. Hasegawa realized that Seeger was probably the most talented person in the club, and she quietly left her alone to concentrate. The school's cultural festival was 3 days away, and the whole club went to see the film that she had made. Everyone gathered in a large group, and the film that her class had made was in an old-fashioned style. Everyone was watching the film when Maria Lanza fell asleep, and when it was over, everyone clapped their hands and said that it was good or that Cassie Heterobrava was good. As they were leaving, the club met the girl again, and Cassie immediately ran up to her and then ran into the classroom. The girl's friends knew that she was very popular when she moved in, and she even had fans, but it was very difficult to make friends with her. Because she always kept her distance from them, Seeger realized that the two siblings had a lot in common. Maria, on the other hand, was not happy to see the girl like that, and at the end of the tour, everyone waited to go home, but the girl also came and waited to go home. Maria was also happy to wait and ran up to the girl. Everything seemed to be going back to normal, and Cassie gave the order to start filming. Hasegawa didn't need to participate anymore because the girl had arrived, and she just chatted with the girl until she arrived. The day of the sports festival arrived, and after the student council president made a speech, it was declared open. Hasegawa went to find Mika, and her face was clearly upset. Mika was used to dealing with popular people, but the student council president was even more popular than Cassie, which made her tired, and Mika went to rest for a while. At this point, Cassie J saw Sigu on the roof, so she went up to check on her, and she was looking out over the city. He realized that her bloodshot eyes were due to her working all night, and he thanked Sigu for trying to make her blush. The sports festival had started, and Sigu and Cassie Ga watched Cassie run and play from above. At this point, Sigu had a serious talk with Cassie Ga, and she thought that he should take the next step in his current relationship with that person. Cassie Ga sang loudly to drown out Sigu's words, and then she left, perhaps not wanting to ruin everyone's relationship. The next day, the day of the sports festival, Cassie Ga went to the club and didn't see Sigu. Mika said that she was concentrating on editing the video, so she wouldn't be coming today, and Cassie Ga went to the room to check and saw that Sigu was unconscious. He took her to the infirmary and found out that she had caught a cold again, and Cassie Ga informed everyone. Mika decided to cancel the film screening, because no one would want to watch a film that was being shown at the wrong time. They then went to post notices of the cancellation, and while Cassie Ga was posting them, USA stopped him because she thought he was vandalizing the posters of another club. He explained, and she understood, and USA also thought so because a good person like Cassie Ga wouldn't do anything bad. Cassie Ga was very happy to hear this, and only Yusa trusted him. Hasegawa continued to post notices around, and when he was finished, he went to see Scowl and told her what had happened. He was very worried, but Hasegawa thought that her health was more important before making this decision. Mika had told everyone that other people couldn't watch the film, but there was no reason why the people in the club couldn't watch it. Segu was very touched, and Hasegawa left her to rest. After she recovered, Segu finished the film and prepared to show it to everyone in the club, and when the film stopped showing, the cultural festival was over. In the days that followed, USA often visited the club, and she had been following the club for a long time, and had discovered that the members were just having fun and not doing any club activities. As a member of the student council, USA wanted to disband the club. However, Mika objected, arguing that this was the club's activity, and that it was exactly what they had signed up for, and had been approved by the school. All of USA's reasons were rejected by Mika, and according to Article 4, Section 4 of the school rules, they were not allowed to wear the wrong uniform, but according to Article 1, Section 5, all club members were allowed to wear a different uniform as long as it was in accordance with good morals, and USA targeted her because she was not a member of the school. Mika said that she belonged to the school's junior high school, and that it was still a branch of the school, so USA left in defeat. This was the first time that Mika had come out to defend a member of the club as a member of the student council, and later, USA came back with enough evidence to disband the club. That is, every club must have a faculty advisor. It is true that there is Maria, but when USA checked the list of teachers, Maria was not there. So she was not a faculty advisor, but just a child who ran around the school. Hasegawa called to ask the teacher, and it was true. The nun only let Maria wear the uniform because she was so cute, and Yusei was confident that she would win. However, as Hasegawa had predicted, it is better to have a fish as an ally than an enemy. She just needed a girl named Maria to be accepted as a special advisor to the school, and why? Because she is the daughter of the chairman of the school's board of directors, who built the school. Now Yusa presented the disbandment order, and she would always be there, and not be afraid of anything. Kaie used her power to completely crush Yusa, forcing her to apologize and leave. As soon as this problem was over, another one arose. Kaxi mentioned her, and Hasegawa's upcoming wedding. She wanted to marry him right away, and in fact, he liked her too. Before Kaxi could finish speaking, Hasegawa stopped her. He didn't want to hear it and quickly grabbed the door and left. Why did he meet Yusa, who was carrying a head? Hasegawa asked her a question. He wondered why she wanted to disband the neighboring club so badly. Yusa felt that everyone was wasting their talent. Kaie and Mika were very talented individuals, if not geniuses, and yet they only put 100% into having fun. In addition, there was Sigwa, who was also very talented. In fact, everyone in the neighboring club was talented except for Hasegawa. But USA felt that Kaxi had to indulge her once before she realized the problem. Hasegawa hinted to Kaxi that she could have everything but one thing that she didn't have. That was her pride. USA let it go because, who in the world doesn't have pride? USA still had a lot to take away, so Hasegawa asked her to take it away, and at this point, the club president also came to ask Yusa. The girl worked until it was dark, and seeing that Hasegawa was very tired, the club president invited him and the student council. With him, they would. Yusa thinks that Hasegawa is cool. He once again fell in love, because only Yusa thinks well of him. However, unlike Yusa, everyone thinks he is a criminal. So, if he is in the student council, it will affect everyone's reputation. And the president is the second person who thinks differently like Yusa. Don't judge a book by its cover. Hasegawa was very happy to be invited, but he would refuse if Yusa needed him. In the past week, Hasegawa has been continuously absent from the student council, but his reputation has improved somewhat. And he didn't go to the club for a day, not because he didn't want to go, but because he was running away from the truth. Today, while waiting for Yusa, he met Zuki. Yusa went first. Zuki told Hasegawa that since he left, some people have gradually stopped coming to the club. Probably only him and Takawi come regularly, and then he left. Hasegawa asked why he still wanted to serve him when he had abandoned everyone, simply because he wanted to be with him and everyone. Suddenly Hasegawa received a message from Zuki to abandon everyone. Zuki abandoned everyone. Weigu is the only person he can't hide from, so he will accept all punishments. She took out 3 killer bees to attack Hasegawa. He was stung by them, and it hurt so much. Garyuku thought that Hasegawa abandoned the club because of the killer bees, so she added more killer bees. Yuku said that she asked Kageshi when she fell in love with him, and she said that it was when he saved her from the gangsters, then the overnight story, and the future husband. Mika lost all motivation because of that incident. Hasegawa thinks that people's hearts are too complicated for Shigu to analyze like that. He approached Shigu despite the bees constantly attacking him. He wished he could make everyone happy. However, he is not as good as Mika or as talented as Cassie. He is just an ordinary person. Ordinary to the point of being like a supporting character. For an ordinary person like him, the club is where he feels alive and true to himself. He wants to protect it. Just like what Shigu is doing now. She betrayed, and everyone's ultimate goal is still the club. Everything ended with Shigu attacking Hasegawa with all the killer bees. Hasegawa reminded Ho once again. Help him with the club and everyone. This scene is like 10 years ago when he first met Mika. But this time it was Oryuo. Then Hasegawa went to see Cassie to solve their love problems. Before he could say anything, all the members received a message from Mika. She announced that she was currently traveling so they didn't need to look for her, which surprised everyone. In fact, Mika heard the whole story from Hasegawa and Nishigudguri. It seems that she needs to go to a really quiet place to think. The anime ends here. Goodbye.